passed in about 20 different states. And I can't think of a better way to empower small businesses than to open up access to capital for them. So that's what we will be doing. You may find yourself on our email list talking about interstate equity crowdfunding. If you do, please take a look at that and support the effort any way that you possibly can. So that being said, I'm going to thank our sponsors tonight, and then I'm going to get out of the way and let the exciting companies that are going to pitch tonight talk to you all. So first of all, I'd like to thank Level. So please give them a round of applause for We have sponsors. We have Elm Spring, who's a sponsor in the back there, a very exciting accelerator in 1871 that deals with real estate and technology. Give them a round of applause. We have RCM Alternatives, Mike Kavanaugh's other life, who is sponsoring the SBAC. So give them a round of applause, but not too big a round of applause. You never want to go to the pad. We have Wintrust VC. So Wintrust, thank you for getting involved with the SBAC. We're really happy to have your support. Give them a round of applause. Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses. You don't think small business when you think about Goldman Sachs, but what they do have is an incredible program that helps small businesses improve themselves and get access to funding. So Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses, thank you. Give them a round of applause. I probably should save the round of applause for the end, but I've only got two more. Arnstein & Lear, the law firm of Arnstein & Lear, thank you for sponsoring. Give them a hand. And of course, Natalie, Adam Friedman, Mike Kavanaugh have put this event together. You know, 5 years ago there was nobody in the SBAC. 3 years ago we had our first pitch session. It was in the basement of a Greek restaurant. The main attraction was something called the Tushy Light. I'm serious, it was for when you're changing diapers and you can't see it. And I actually wasn't a bad product, but I don't think it went anywhere. And there were probably 15 people in the room. And when I look and see what Michael and what Adam have done with this event, it's incredible, it's humbling. And it's why the SBAC is going to continue to grow and empower small businesses. So with that, I'm going to step aside. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Give Mr. Elliott another round of applause, please. All right. This is my favorite microphone, if you can all tell. You see how big it is. Okay. Next we have, I'm just going to snatch this out here. Next we have coming up a very, very interesting ones that I have to bring out. I'd like to bring out our keynote speaker. And I'd also like to introduce the judges. Mr. Mark Lawrence, our co-founder and CEO of SpotHero. Come on, you get louder than that. That's a big shot. Also like to thank an on-demand parking app that has allowed you to search and reserve parking for up to 50% off. The rate has a convenient parking garages and valet stands. SpotHero. Give them another round of applause. He also was co-founded with Jeremy Smith. Is he here with us tonight? Jeremy? Jeremy? Is he here? Jeremy? Oh, okay. Keep it moving. All right. Let's see here. Mr. Lawrence, would you please like to come up to the stage? And we don't have a big stage here, but it's just enough for you to have some fun around. All right?
I'm gonna get that on.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah.
You drop it, you buy it.
All right. Thank you. Well, anyways, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the intro about what SpotHero does. Basically, I'd like to just add, we make it easy for people to park, and that was the goal of why we started SpotHero. We make it easier for drivers, and when we first started, we had this idea that there was not enough parking spaces, and that we needed to bring new spaces to light, right? So we actually everything started with this peer-to-peer model where we're actually going driveway by driveway looking for different parking spaces. And so Jeremy and I would go door to door trying to, sign up different individual parking lots, and that's actually how it started. It was a website, and people, bought it on the website, and they parked in people's driveways, and it took maybe 6 months to get the first 20 spaces, and then we kind of realized something. It's not that there's not enough spaces, there's just too much, and you just don't know where it is. And it actually kind of happened by accident, because we started to try to figure out, well, where else are we going to find places for people to park? And so we actually, the first time, talked to someone from a parking company, a parking garage. And he said to us, when we pitched him on what we were doing, he said, okay, you know what? I'll start with, we'll start with something small. How about 1,000 spaces? And so Jeremy and I were like, 1,000 spaces a day? Right? That's all we could muster a day, right? And he said, yeah, they're open every day. And so that was one of the first, real big breaks for us. At the time we hadn't had any funding, we were bootstrapping, and it was a huge break, because now we could basically have access to these thousands of parking spots. We didn't really know how to sell them, but at least we had them, right? And so I guess in the next stage, we were bootstrapping, we were selling these spaces, things were going pretty well, and we applied to Accelerate Labs, which is now Techstars Chicago. We actually got turned down. They said no. We were shocked. Troy later told me it was because of our customer acquisition strategy. He said, how are you going to acquire customers? And I said, well, flyers. He's like, okay, I understand that's how you got your customers now, but what's your customer acquisition strategy? I said, well, more flyers. Like, duh. I thought it was obvious. So, fast forward, and it was just, Jeremy, myself, and Larry. They're three founders, and we're doing everything. We're running like mad. And sure enough, Accelerate Labs comes around again. We applied, we got in, and then we actually said no. We're like, well, why would we want to do this? Why would we want to give us a percentage of our company? We're bootstrapped. I'm not, sure this is all necessary. And Troy had been helpful over the past year. He was like, just come talk to me. Let's talk. And I said, Troy, you said that there's 2 months of getting nothing done. I can't be a part of that. We are in heads down mode. I'm like, look, my phone's buzzing. I'm like, I'm taking customer service calls. I'm like, I'm the customer service person. Why? You're keeping me right now from answering it. And he said, well, wait, how much revenue are you making? And we told him. And I think at the time it was about $20,000 a month. And he's like, wait, there's 3 of you, and what are you guys doing? And I'm like, well, we just do everything. And he says, well, why don't you hire someone? And at the time I was like, hire someone? That's how it works? That's what you do? And so as crazy as it sounds, I was like, wow, this is a pretty big epiphany, right? Epiphany. I think we should hire someone. And at that moment, I'm like, thinking we should probably do this, because we thought we knew everything, and then we realized, wait a second, we've just been, doing everything ourselves. We have the money, and we just had no end in sight. So anyways, we raised our first money. It was, I believe at the time, $18,000 for 6%. With Accelerate Labs, it's a different deal now. And then Pritzker Group gave $50,000 convertible note. And so that was the first time that we had gotten some funding. Then you fast forward, and we made our first hire in the program. So it was an awesome first hire. And then we got an intern. That intern is still with us. He is not an intern anymore. But sometimes I forget that. And so we went through the program, and we started to grow. Things really started to take off. We're learning all these different things. And then there was a similar issue where we were sitting in Sam Yegan's office, and he says, well, what are the bottlenecks for growth? How are you going to figure this out? And previously, we had only focused on bootstrapping. Things in Chicago changed a lot. There really wasn't anything like this or anything to really do with funding. It was a kind of very closed off type of thing in Chicago. It's a lot different now. But at least, we had the benefit of Accelerate Labs, and he said, well, why don't you raise some more money? We're like, wait, you can raise some more money? We just raised $68,000. That's a lot. Come on, Sam. And so then we ended up raising our first convertible debt. And I remember what he said is, we're like, how much money should we raise? And he's like, well, how much do you need? And we're like, we don't know. We started talking about it, and we came up with a range of what we needed. And he said, all right, you're raising 200 to 400,000. We're like, why? How does that